The TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School season, concludes today at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In race one of the weekend, misfortune struck reigning TCX champion Jacob Ruud, while his championship rival Colin Garrett scored maximum points with a win, slicing Ruud's points advantage to a mere 9 headed into the season finale. In TCA, Gresham Wagner took a 7-point championship lead over Carter Fartuck with his win in race 1, but he has to start at the back of the grid for race 2 today, while Fartuck starts on the class pole. Hello, welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My name is Ryan Marine. It's a pleasure to have your company. Calvin Fish sits alongside, and Amanda Busick is in a brisk pit lane this morning at this famed old facility, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard. So much up for grabs other than the TCA championship. We know Kevin Boehm has taken that title home, but in TCX and TCA, everything is in play.
Oh, so much drama coming into Championship Sunday right now. Both those championships very much on the line. And for the leaders in those championship chases, boy, what tension coming in here. For Jacob Ruud, he'll start from the very back of the pack after drama here on Friday. And for his championship contender, Colin Garrett, he's now scored 6 wins, 3 on the bounce. That now means he's only 9 points out, as you mentioned. He's mid-pack as well, so there's going to be some real argy-bargy in that field. And what drama in TCA, as you said, Gresham Wagner at the very back after some incident contact here on Friday that he was awarded the responsibility for. So he's got to make his way through that field and get to Carter Fartuck. But if he finishes second, that is enough to seal the deal on the tiebreaker.
High drama here in the season finale, Amanda.
Well, I know we're going to be talking about championships and the TCX and TCA classes today, and you said it was a very brisk morning here in Indianapolis. Well, that has been my best friend right now with the sun starting to get here on pit lane into this front stretch here at IMS. But I know we're going to talk about those championships as said, but I still think it's pretty special if you look at row number 1 here in the TCX class. Brett Scroggin on pole here. It's his first pole position of his career. First time racing in Indianapolis, so what a special day for him. Also with Garrett Adams, I was talking to him about just cold tires here this morning still. There will be 2 formation laps in this series. Said he's going to use that braking to get the kind of heat from the inside out into those tires as they get ready for a tricky turn 1 here at IMS.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, speaking of Brett Scroggin, first pole, as you mentioned, he matched his career best finish with 4th yesterday, but had the fastest lap of race 1, and as a consequence does get the pole position. He'll have Garrett Adams next to him, and Brett better be prepared for some aggression from Garrett. Garrett needs to go. He needs to get good points, knowing that Jacob Ruud, yeah, he's starting in the back, but he's got great pace. He's got a champion's pedigree, and he'll be coming forward.
Yes, I mean, lots to play for. And as you said, that win is really instrumental in this championship because of the point spread. There's a 7-point spread between first and second, and Colin Garrett sits 9 points out of that lead. So he needs to maximize his points, then see what Jacob Ruud can do from the back of the pack. So for these guys who've never been in this scenario before, you've also got Chris Walsh, who made his debut here on Friday from the pole. He'll start from P4 here today. He's got a lot of speed as well.
Sounds like there is a bit of a delay for track cleanup ahead of this race. There was a GT America powered by AWS race immediately preceding the start of this touring car race, and there were a couple of cars that were damaged late at that one, dropped some fluid on the track, and as a consequence, this is the cleanup that is underway. To refocus, though, on that TCX title battle, it's amazing we're even in this position. Jacob Ruud appeared to stamp his authority on the point standings, leaving his home track at Road America. It looked like he had it well in hand. A disastrous weekend in Sebring, though, cracked that door open for Garrett Adams, and he well and truly kicked it down yesterday after Ruud had issues on the very first lap, and Garrett Adams, Colin Garrett, rather, took full advantage.
He did, and for Jacob Ruud, he's got to be wondering what has happened here. It looks like the title is almost in his hands with an event to go, and suddenly he's got a fight on his hands with just one race to go. So he's got to turn things around here, starting from the back. And as you said, major contact in the early going really stymied his assault here on Friday. And for Colin Garrett, he's got the momentum. He's looking for his 4th consecutive race victory, but it's still not in his hands, because if he wins and Jacob Ruud should get up to P2, that would still give Ruud the title. He also has the tiebreaker should they actually end up tied in points here today, which is unlikely with the spreads that we're seeing in the point scenarios. But if it should happen, Jacob Ruud would have the tiebreaker.
Jacob's got a tall task ahead of him, and Amanda is there to chat with the man himself.
Well, it is a tall task, but you got to remember he is the reigning champion coming in, as you guys were saying in the conversation about Jacob. And Jacob, you know your talents, you know what you're capable of. Starting at the back of the pack here of TCX, how did you plot this for yourself this morning?
Well, look, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to keep the car on track and take the checkered flag on the lead lap. We haven't been able to do that the last 2 races, and so I'm just trying to, get it to the end, drive safe, drive a very smart race today, and, I'll end up where I end up. No matter what happens, I'm super thankful for the team. Getting the car back together on Friday really helped us, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching, family, friends, the Sewell family that's been supporting us. It's been a great year, and I hope we can close it out the way we want, but no matter what, I'm happy with the result.
Your impressions of Jacob Ruud?
Well, he seems pretty calm, but I don't think he can be too conservative here. That Garrett's going to be on the attack, so if he gets up into those big point scoring, then Jacob Ruud needs to get up on the wheel. So seems like he's calm, he's poised, but it's going to take a lot more than just driving around and being on the lead lap at the end of this race if he's going to claim his consecutive title here today.
As mentioned, the TC Championship was settled. Kevin Boehm has clinched that after a runner-up year a year ago. Looking, though, to complete a season, finishing on the podium in every race. That's his goal here today.
Yeah, just incredible when you think about it. He's got 9 wins, which matches his car number. He'd love the perfect 10 in terms of 10 victories, double digits on the year. And also that Honda, it seems to really excel when the conditions are cool like we have here today. So we think everything's in his wheelhouse. Pressure is off. He's just really celebrating what has been a fantastic season for him and his whole group.
It's fantastic if you look at the diversity of manufacturers in the front 2 rows of the TC grid. Kevin Boehm in a Honda, Clay Williams in a Mini, Jeff Ricca in a Hyundai, Matt Ibrahim in a BMW. 4 different makes in the top 4 spots.
Well, it's just great what the championship has done in terms of the balance of performance and the regulations to really give every one of these manufacturers a shot at victory. I also want to give a shout out to Lucas Catania, who lines up 3rd on the grid here today. What a season he's put together. And he got turned around. I think he could have claimed his first win here on Friday. He's had 11 podium finishes this year, including 6 runner-ups. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him break through and maybe grab this win, and that could really hurt Colin Garrett's potential to claim the championship.
The other title that's up for grabs is in TCA. Carter Fartuk finds himself the chaser, but he starts from pole, Amanda.
And boy, have they given us quite a season, him and Grisham Wagner. They came into the weekend tied in points. Grisham got the win yesterday, and as stated, he will start from the back of the pack. And Carter starting here from pole. Why is this in your hands today?
Well, luckily, we're up here up front. We got clean air and everything, and the 21 car had a penalty from the first race, so all we're going to do is we're just going to execute like we always do. We're going to keep on doing exactly what we've been doing all season, getting the most out of this Honda Civic Si, and whatever happens, happens. But we're gonna go for the win. Obviously, we got to, and we're going to try to control our own destiny here.
Let's talk scenarios here. Fartuk on pole. Wagner, who has that 7-point advantage, he starts at the very back of the grid due to a penalty from contact he was deemed responsible for in race number 1. What does Fartuk have to do, and conversely, what does Wagner have to do to come home with the 2022 crown?
Well, Carter has the track position. He starts from pole. He needs to win, maximize his points, but then that's really in Gresham Wagner's hands. If he gets up to 2nd, then it'll be a tie. Wagner has more wins on the season. That would be the tiebreaker. So, but he's got work to do. So for Carter Fartuk, he's got to make it happen. He's got to maximize his points. Otherwise, those points deltas are much smaller. You get deeper into the pack here today.
We've seen Gresham come from the back to the front. Remember one of those races at Sebring? It took him like 7 minutes to do exactly that in a pretty deep TCA field. We know he's capable, but still, this is not where he wants to be to start this race. There's a lot of jeopardy starting where he is. The traffic he's going to have to work through just adds to the level of complexity of the task ahead of him. And it's only a 40-minute race.
It's a short one, but he kind of dropped back a lot on Friday and made his way through pretty efficiently. So he's got the pace in the race car. I don't think there's going to be a big issue with the nature of this circuit and the layout. Plenty of overtaking opportunities for him. So I would anticipate him cutting through to the front of this pack pretty quickly here today, unless he has any technical issues, which would obviously turn this championship on its head. But lots to play out here in the next 40 minutes. It's going to be very exciting.
Back down to Amanda on the grid.
Well, Ryan, I can assure you, I can see your father smile through his helmet here on grid lane, and it's kind of fun that father and son duo here, Ryan on the broadcast, you in the car. Anything you want to say to Ryan this morning?
Yeah, hey Ryan, 5 minutes to go, and living the dream. Have fun, everybody. Enjoy the race.
Good luck, Dad. Starting in the 7th spot today, just his 2nd start in the series in the LAP Motorsports Mini.
I know he's proud of you, but I think you should be proud of your dad. He did a really nice job here on Friday.
Yep, he did. Came home 6th. Really excited to see that, but he knows he's got some fast cars starting behind him. Devin Anderson for Tech Sport, really quick. Starts in the 2nd to last row. Gresham Wagner, as mentioned, in the very back, and his teammate PJ Gronke, who started on the front row yesterday. It was actually contact between Wagner and Gronke that led to Wagner being at the back. Gronke has to start there because he did not set a lap time yesterday, and the grid for race, or not on Friday rather, the grid for race 2 is set by the results from race 1, the fastest lap from race 1. So those are some really fast cars at the back of the grid. Amanda?
Well, Gresham was just telling me he wants to make the best of everything that he has ahead of him today. And Gresham, starting from the back, we've seen you do it before. Strategy heading into this race?
I mean, it's hard to really know exactly how it's going to go down in turn 1 and everything. Just have to be a little bit tentative until everyone kind of gets sorted out, and then, just turns the fast laps and makes the smart passes, kind of leapfrog your way up through the field.
Gresham Wagner
I
points
think he's
leader.
spot on there.
Yeah.
He can't afford to get too aggressive down in turn 1. Everyone's going to be on cold tires. Could easily have some incidents there. So just get through that first lap and then go on the attack. And just you got time to work with, and just gradually and efficiently try and get yourself up into that top 2 position, which would seal the championship for you.
This is the 2nd straight weekend for Gresham that he has come into a race weekend with a chance to fight for the championship. He was in the MX5 Cup field last weekend at Road Atlanta. He came in as the reigning champion of that series, came up a little bit short, but at least going through that process of preparing yourself mentally for the championship battle. You just did it a week ago. You're in that same position again. That has to be a leg up.
It does. It gives you that experience. It gives you that poise. You're not experiencing it for the very first time. So that's all about the experience that these young drivers are gradually building with their career. And I think he'll do the right thing. I really think, Carter Farlock has had an amazing season, but I think the favorite to claim the championship is Gresham Wagner, despite starting from the back of the field. His car is fast. The team has done a brilliant job this year in giving him machinery. Has been way more reliable than they had in years past, and this has been a solid team for the year for the Tech Sport team.
It has. They had their ups and downs, especially in the first half of the year. Some of it appeared to be mechanical. This is a relatively new platform with this BRZ that they've developed. It seems like they've ironed out some of those kinks. This wouldn't even be a discussion if it weren't for a few of those odd finishes earlier in the season. Their highs were so high, the lows that were so low. Fartuk has been incredibly consistent across the season, but if you're looking for the high water mark, it's really been what Gresham has been able to do with that team, the amount of wins they've accumulated.
Well, they've had the speed. I think for Carter, he's hung in there. He's ground it out. I mean, during the hot summer months, the car was not performing as well as Wagner had. So he was having to really just go into damage limitation in terms of scoring those top 5s where Wagner was grabbing the wins. So he's hung in there. He's in with the shout, 7 points back. But the championship is not being controlled by him. It's really being controlled by Gresham Wagner and what he's able to do here today, even if Fartuk wins.
A moment ago, that was a look inside the cockpit at Christian Pericarpi. Starts on the outside of the front row. Son of the team owner, Louis Pericarpi, who's in this field too, starting back in the 2nd to last row for the Mini team. And that team actually, since we have a little more time as the delay continues, the track cleanup apparently is about done. But they had a lot of work on their hands. They had to change an engine in PJ Gronke's car. That's another reason he's at the back of the field, actually, after the contact that he had in race 1. That car was in pieces just yesterday, and now it's on the grid, ready to go. And PJ's awfully quick in that machine We look inside here. Carter Fartuck, his eyes focused on the task at hand. The engines are fired at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're about ready to go for the final TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School, race of the season.
Well, this just ramps up the tension, right, in terms of those championship contenders that have had a few more minutes here to dwell on what may happen. But at the same time, track temperatures probably increased just a little bit, maybe give it a little bit more grip here as we enter those first few corners for everyone.
Interesting to note, in both TC and TCA, the front row on pole, a Skip Barber Racing School Team Honda. On the outside of the front row, an LAP Motorsports Mini. In the case of TC, it's Kevin Beaumont pole, Clay Williams in the Mini on the outside. In TCA, Carter Fartuck on the pole in the Skip Barber Racing School Team Honda, and Christian Pericarpi on the outside in the LAP Mini. So some nice symmetry there as the field rolls down this famous straightaway here at Indianapolis. It will be 2 formation laps, and that is so important when conditions are as they are today. It is, maybe brisk isn't even doing it justice. It is straight up cold this morning.
It really is, and Amanda talked about what the drivers were going to do in preparation for trying to generate a little bit of tire temperature here. And what you basically do is ride the brake pedal and the throttle at the same time, just trying to build some temperature through the brake system into the upright, up through the wheel and into the tire itself, so from the inside out. And then you still got to be careful there into that brake zone for turn 1. So easy just to snatch your brake there when the tires aren't completely up to grip.
Any advantage front-wheel drive over rear-wheel drive? We've got a mix of those in the TCA and TC classes.
Yeah, I think the front-wheel drive, you're able to generate a bit more temperature on those front braking wheels, which you're asking for as you turn into that very tight corner. So yeah, I would say a front-wheel drive should be able to be getting the turning wheels up to temper a little bit quicker.
TCX, it's all BMW, all rear-wheel drive. This BMW M2 has been a very popular platform. If you want one, good luck. There's been a waiting list to order one of these things new, and even the used market, it's pretty difficult to get your hands on one. Such has been the popularity of these cars. In TC, a great mix of different manufacturers. Honda, Mini, Hyundai, and BMW. This will be the final race for this BMW. It was given a waiver to race one final year after the homologation came to an end. So this is the swan song for the BMW 240. See a couple of them in the field with the DRS Garagistic team, Matt Ibrahim and Chris Valdez piloting those cars. And then at TCA again, a great mix, Honda, Mini, Hyundai, and Subaru. The mix of front and rear-wheel drive platforms to boot. Makes for fantastic racing, 3 different classes, so many different manufacturers, and great drivers up and down the grid. Let's look at the starting lineup. Brett Scroggin, first career pole. He will lead the field to the green. Garrett Adams alongside. Then Lucas Catania looking for not just another podium, but maybe that first long-awaited win of the season alongside series returnee, just his first race weekend though this year, Chris Walsh. Colin Garrett needs to move forward. He's still trying to chase down Jacob Root for the TCX points battle. Joseph Catania starts 6th. Olivia Askew and Steve Strymer 7th and 8th. And the points leader all the way back on the final row, Jacob Rood. To the TCA field, champion-elect Kevin Beaumont pole. Clay Williams in the TC Spec Mini will start 2nd. Jeff Rika in the Gym Racer Hyundai will be 3rd alongside Matt Ibrahim in the BMW. Ken Fukuda from the Skip Barber Racing School team starts in the 5th spot with Chris Valdez next to him. Carl Hertel making his season debut this weekend alongside Celso Neto in the final row for TC. Then to TCA, Carter Fartuck in the championship hunt, but on the back foot. He is, however, on the pole. He'll have Christian Pericarpi next to him. Brandon Tyner, so strong in Sebring a couple of weeks ago, starts 3rd alongside Xiaoyi Che, who's having his best weekend of the season despite being under the weather. Sally McNulty for the Skip Barber School team in the 5th spot alongside Colin Harrison. Then in the fourth row, you'll find Bruce Marine and Tyler Delgado. Louis Pericarpi, the team owner for LAP Motorsports, he'll be back alongside Devin Anderson. And then Gresham Wagner and PJ Gronke in the final row. Two guys that ran at the front, albeit temporarily for Gronke. Started at the front row yesterday. They had contact on Friday, I should say. They'll share the final row of the grid for the final race of the 2022 season. Field in alignment, 3 separate waves will take the green flag to kick off the final race of the campaign. It's Brett Scroggin, his first career pole to the left-hand side of the screen. Garrett Adams to the right, Lucas Catania and Chris Walsh, the pole sitter on Friday. He'll be in row number 2. Garrett and Catania, Joseph Catania in row 3. Green flag flies. It's a flying V formation down the front straightaway. Scroggin with a good jump. Looks like Walsh speaking to the outside. Colin Garrett thought about making it 4 wide.
Catania down deep.
Wide.
Oh, it's going to get tight. There's contact there. Lucas Catania gets into the side of Scroggin there as they all try to funnel through turn 1.
Scroggin drops back from the pole. Rude up a couple of spots, it looks like, at the drop of the green. On the break, Scroggin suffering. As you can see, Colin Garrett has pushed through. Someone's got a cut tire, it would appear, as the TCA field now goes green with Carter Fartuck leading him to the line as the pole sitter. Not a great start from Christian Pericarpi in the mini. Let's look further back and see what the Tech Sport guys do. Gronke with a huge move to the outside. Everyone aggressive into turn number 1.
Wagner then tries to follow Gronke through, but he's just trying to tread carefully there. He's about the 4th car from the tail end of that pack there. Following Gronke through, you can see him right there behind the orange Mini.
Fartuck did exactly what he hoped to do from the pole. Got a great start, and now it'll settle out where it may. Catania and Rude side by side. That's Jacob Rude up another spot.
Yeah, he's had a nice solid start. He's in great shape here. You can see his championship protagonist just a couple of spots ahead.
Yeah, he's 4th. Looks like Colin Garrett is 2nd as they run, coming around to complete the first lap here of the season finale.
Well, the commentators curse on Lucas Catania. I forecast he'd win his first race, but just got in way too deep, got way too tight there with 3 cars line astern there.
Weaving back and forth to put some heat in the tires. Garrett Adams having a great run from the front row. He leads the way. Chris Walsh looking to make a move there further back. I think this is for the 5th spot, working on Joseph Catania. These two have been side by side a couple of times already. In TC, it does look like Kevin Bohm from pole has the lead over Clay Williams, then Jeff Rika. Matt Ibrahim going side by side a little further back in the pack for the 4th spot.
Rika and Ibrahim in a nice fierce battle for 3rd place in points. Not much separating those two, but Rika right now has the championship lead in 3rd over Ibrahim, and he has the track position, looking in great shape.
It was Ken Fukuda that Ibrahim was battling with, still is as a matter of fact. Back to TCA, Carter Fartuck with a massive lead. Brandon Tyner in 2nd, and then look at the gap all the way back. Is that Sally McNulty up to the 3rd spot? Great start for Sally.
Harrison in 4th. Gresham Wagner up to the top 5 early. Perfect first lap for him.
Yeah, that's from 12th on the starting grid. Fantastic start for Gresham Wagner.
He slides it inside Harrison there. He's now up to P4. Just biding his time.
Stand corrected, it's actually from 11th on the grid. Wagner now working to the outside of McNulty. Already finds himself in podium contention if he can complete this move.
Up to P3. He needs one more spot, and if he can just sit there in 2nd, even if he follows Fartuck across the line here today, that would be enough for the championship.
Side by side battling. McNulty shuffled out of the way a little bit. Harrison comes through, as does one of the other Tech Sport cars. Not sure if that was Anderson or Che. Look how tight it is here at the very front. Garrett Adams. Colin Garrett.
Amazingly, Scroggin's car is still, looks like it's performing pretty well despite that big cloud that he had down in turn 1 on the opening lap.
Yeah, but Rude is the fastest car in this class. Just set the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, a 36.1. He is reeling these guys in too.
So if Garrett does grab the lead here and grab the win, Jacob Rude needs to finish P2. P3 would make him 1 point shy, so still lots of scenarios to play out here.
Garrett gets to the flank, but he can't draw alongside. That leaves him vulnerable for Scroggin. Scroggin has to check up. Now Rude enters the mix.
Nice job by Scroggin here. Fast lap here on Friday, give him the pole position. Still looking for his first podium. Adams protecting from Garrett right behind him. Garrett will not be liking the fact he can see Rude in his rearview mirrors right now, just sitting one position back.
1, 2, 3, and 4 overall, all in this train.
As they run right now, Rude has the championship. You've got to feel that Garrett's going to put the pressure on and try and grab the lead here from Adams pretty quickly.
Adams has been on the podium a few times this year, has yet to win. Jacob Rude is maybe the fastest car of this bunch. Adams has to go on the defensive. Colin Garrett looking to go the long way around. He can't, and Jacob Rude has entered the chat. He's on the back door now of Colin Garrett.
Yeah, I think this is more like the race I was expecting rather than what he said in his interview on the grid with Amanda. Yes, he needs to finish. He knows that. He's got to score points here today. He's had a really tidy first couple of laps here.
Possibly early problems for Louis Pericarpi. That mini you see there has been delayed. It looks like Louis will try to get out of the way as the leaders come through. Garrett defending the inside. Garrett Adams, that is, from Colin Garrett. But the switchback opens the door for Colin. That opens the door for Rude. Rude shoved a little bit wide. He has to settle in line.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here, Jacob Rude. I think he's got control of this championship scenario. Don't get too racy. Don't cut down a tire. You know that Colin Garrett's just going to put it all on the line. He's got nothing to lose at this stage of the game. Got to go for it. Got to get the win. Got to get the points gap over Jacob Rude behind him.
Nose to tail, the top two in the championship. Rude has the points lead by a narrow margin, so Colin Garrett knows he's got to stay ahead. In fact, he's got to pick up another spot to be in the mix. We've got cars off the track. PJ Gronke involved alongside Sally McNulty, who looks to be buried in the gravel trap. I expect that will bring out a full course yellow, and this is how it happened. Gronke to the inside of McNulty, and the two make contact.
Yeah, I don't think she had any idea that PJ had made that move to the inside. Pretty aggressive turn in there from Sally, and I think the move from PJ was legit, but unfortunately for Sally, I think she's broken the suspension and obviously got the car beached right now. Great opening lap by her. It was really good racing.
Oh, phenomenal to get up to third. Getting the assistance as we do go full course yellow of the Skip Barber Racing School team. Earlier in the year, Victor Gonzalez and his squad were helping her out, but been welcomed in under the tent at the Skip Barber School team. And he's had some great performances this year, but it looks like this season ends in the gravel trap for Sally McNulty. Really unfortunate to see that.
Okay, well, this will burn a little bit of time off the clock, so this will increase the urgency here for both Colin Garrett and Jacob Rude to cement their positions here in today's race.
Down to the pits now, and Amanda.
When I originally saw Jacob Rude this morning, he kind of made the comment, he was like, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. And when you think of the mental comeback that happens after you face adversity, whether it be a performance adversity or kind of your own doing to yourself, Cal, I want to come to you on it as a former driver, and Ryan, I know also a driver, but the mental side of racing, how do you break back through that? And knowing that you're a champion, you won it here, how does that play into what's going on through Jacob's mind right now?
Well, I think you start to second guess yourself a little bit, and I think when we spoke to him on the grid, he just said, listen, I got to just get to the finish line. I need to score points here today. I can't keep having results where I'm not seeing the checkered flag, getting into some drama. So he wanted a good, clean race, but right now he can see the scenario in front of him. He knows what he has to do. We know if Garrett gets to the lead, he has to finish second. So it's pretty simple. I mean, he's right in front of him. He's not buried in the pack. He doesn't have a damaged race car, but he's got to make some clean moves. So it does play on your mind. You know, it's a bit like any sport that you play. As soon as you just lose that momentum a little bit, you start to question things. Well, why did that happen? Why did I end up in that place on the racetrack? Why did I make that decision rather than just letting it be natural?
How do you get out of that funk?
Well, it takes a result. I need you to get back on the horse, so to speak, and just score the points that you used to see and get back to victory lane. But now we're doing it at a stage of the year where everything is so pivotal. Sometimes you'll do it at the end of a year. How did I have such a great championship year? Then it's been a disaster. That's not the case with Jacob Ruud. You have the off-season to reflect, but today it's pressure time. You've got to perform right now. You can't overthink it. You just got to let it happen. He knows he needs to glue himself to Colin Garrett. If he finishes right behind him, wherever they finish, that is enough.
PJ Gronke in the pits. Pretty heavy contact. You can see there was damage to the left front wheel. Now looking inside the wheel well, and the hood goes up as well as they look for some more damage on that machine. Such a disappointing weekend for PJ. He had that long-awaited first podium in this class at Road America. Huge smile on his face. He ran second to his teammate, Christian Pericarpi, in that race. And remember, they ran pretty much as teammates, right? They helped each other pull away from the Tech Sports Subarus in that event. And PJ said, yep, I probably could have made a move, but I had to think big picture. I had to think about the team. And he comes home second there. But here at Indianapolis, he's shown great pace all throughout the weekend. DNF yesterday, and it's not going to be a representative finish today.
I think for him, he just needs to reflect that the performance has been there this year. He's back to where we expect PJ Gronke to be, competing for race wins, competing for podiums on a regular basis.
Sally McNulty being towed away. It's a sad sight to see. This new generation Honda Civic, one of just 3 racing Civics of this generation in existence. The other one driven right now by Carter Fartuck, the other one that's in competition, and there's one that's been used for a lot of testing. Big plans for that car as a turnkey touring car solution from Honda, direct to consumers in the years to come.
Well, his performance has certainly been showcased this year with Sally's results, and obviously Carter's in the mix for the championship, has the lead in this race right now. And right now, as they run, he would be the champion, but Gresham Wagner still has a lot of time to work with to try and get by Branyan Tyner and get up to P2.
Hill goes back on the car, but down a lap now is PJ Gronke. You can see all the stickers on his car. He seeks out partners pretty much in any denomination you could think of. And it's amazing what he does. His persistence in seeking out the financial help to go racing. You see year after year, he's got more stickers on his car than anyone in the entire SRO paddock. Lights out on the safety car, and we're set to go back to green at the conclusion of this lap. To reset the order, it is Garrett Adams leading from Colin Garrett. Jacob Ruud is third overall, then the pole sitter, Brett Scroggin, and Chris Walsh in the 5th position. And in the TC class, champion-elect Kevin Boehm ahead of Clay Williams, Jeff Rika, and Matt Ibrahim with Ken Fukuda up to 5th. And in TCA, Carter Fartuck had a lead taken away by this yellow. That was not good news for him. He's got Branyan Tyner behind him, and then Gresham Wagner from the back now runs 3rd. And we might be delayed in getting back to green. I still see lights on the safety car, and they were supposed to pull off here in turn 10 under normal circumstances. So evidently the call was made to delay this 1 lap further. Is that good or bad news for the likes of Carter Fartuck here?
I'd say it's good news. It's taking a little bit more time off the clock, but there's still a ton of room in this race for some moves to be made, so I don't think it really changes things dramatically. So again, the ambient and track temperature will start to build a little bit. Should make it a little bit safer restart here when we get down to turn 1. Certainly was a wild start to this race with the 3 cars so spread out there, and trying to funnel into 3 into 1 or 2 didn't work quite.
TCX was so crazy, and TCA was too. I didn't even get a chance to see what happened in TC, other than we know that Kevin Boehm was able to take his pole position and turn it into the lead of the race. Williams in that Mini, they've been fast in a straight line this year. And some of the starts and restarts he's had have been quite good, and maybe that gives him a chance to go on the attack here on what may prove to be the final restart of the 2022 season. Time will tell.
Yeah, Williams has had a really strong season as well. Obviously not the consistency of Kevin Boehm, as you mentioned, hasn't been off the podium yet this year. But Williams has had 4 victories. So it's been a really solid campaign. I'm sure they're a team that are looking forward to next year to build on that performance, get the consistency to really put forward a championship charge.
I think in hindsight, I misidentified the mini that was off the pace. I think I said it was Louis Pericarpi. In fact, that was Christian, who started on the outside of the front row. Remember, we saw him slow down Holman Boulevard here. And that takes a potential contender out of the picture in TCA. So apologies there. And Christian appears to be a couple of laps down. Getting closer to restarting this race, but while we have a moment, let's hear again from Amanda.
You talk about ways you try to get a championship off your mind. Colin Garrett went axe throwing with his team last night to kind of keep his mind busy. The team said that he was kind of quiet this morning, a little bit nervous. Didn't really eat much, but was able to get a little bit of sleep last night. But also here during this race, hasn't really said much or filtered information back to his team. So locked and loaded is Colin Garrett.
He needs to be coming to the restart. Thanks, Amanda. Garrett Adams will lead the field on this restart. The class is splitting one another for 3 distinct restarts. Adams, Garrett, Rude, Scroggin, Walsh, the top 5 up onto the front straightaway at a slow pace. It's a snail's pace. Garrett Adams waiting to enter the VP acceleration zone. The green flag flies and Garrett Adams accelerates away. He's got Colin Garrett tucked in right behind. Jacob Rude third in that train. They pop out 2 wide. A little bit further back in the pack, the TC and TCA fields accelerating 2 into turn number 1.
I kind of like that. Very controlled there by Garrett Adams in terms of not really allowing everyone to kind of have a rush down into him into turn 1. So very slow when you got the green flags as you get in that acceleration zone, even if the leader has not taken off yet. I think that was Joseph Catania kind of broke. Oh, is this Boehm off?
That's Carter Fartuk, the points leader. He's off the track, he rejoins, but Gresham Wagner sweeps by, and that puts Wagner in a position to clinch the title.
Wow. Devin Anderson right up there as well. What happened there? Was the elbows out there down into turn 1? Branyan Tyner down to P3 right now. And up front, Colin Garrett gets to the lead. Adams doesn't want to give it up, side by side. Jacob Rude in the shadows looking for a way through as well.
Colin Garrett muscles his way to the point. Jacob Rude's got to go, go, go. He needs to stay on the back bumper of that number 44 BMW just in front of him if he's going to clinch a 2nd consecutive TCX title, and he's through on Garrett Adams.
Nice move there, and you could just sense that he's being so careful. He didn't want any part of Garrett Adams in terms of any contact. He just needs Colin Garrett now to just take off and let him go with him and just sit right on his bumper.
Worth remembering, Garrett Adams and Jacob Rude are teammates for the Fast Track Racing team. He didn't fight too hard when Rude got to the inside. Colin Garrett is in front. He needed to do that, but it's not going to be good enough with Rude on his bumper. Here's the run into turn number 1. Rude doesn't just want the title, he wants another win.
Scroggin also flaring out on Garrett Adams there. He's looking for more than the P4 finish right now on pole setter. 4th car in line.
And in TCA, after that lap, Fartuk from the lead has dropped to the 4th spot. Gresham Wagner has taken the lead, and he's got his teammate Devin Anderson to play wingman.
Perfect scenario. Was there any contact down there in turn 1, or did Carter just rush in there with a bit too much speed? Up front, Colin Garrett there. Looking like it's going to be a long 21 minutes for him to hang on to this win. Jacob Rude looks really racy here today. He's got great pace in that car.
But there's no reason other than a desire to win for Rude to force the issue. He's in a position to clinch a 2nd consecutive title as they run.
There's Gresham Wagner. There's his teammate Anderson. There's Tyner. There's Carter Fartuk. He's got to make some moves. He's got to get around that Hyundai and go back on the attack and try and chase down those BRZs.
Brandon Tyner has had great pace in recent events. A pair of runner-up results at Sebring. And right now, holding down the third spot. Fartuk, though, he's got the motivation. You can see the frustration. He's got his hand off the wheel, gesturing. He wants by.
He had good torque initially off the corner. Now he dives down to the inside. He's going to take that third position away. Got to go on the attack. Got to lay it all out there right now.
Carter Fartuk, who has controlled this championship until this final weekend. Gresham Wagner took over the points lead by virtue of his win on Friday in the penultimate round of the championship. Was handed a penalty, though, for contact in that race that made him start at the back of the grid today. He didn't waste any time driving to the front and now is in a position to clinch his first ever TCA championship in his rookie season.
Well, Anderson's looked pretty racy there. Wagner very deep. Let's see how this evolved here. Carter just went off by himself, it looked like. Just got into the brake zone a little bit too deep, couldn't get the car turned. Wagner's there immediately to pounce.
Tech Sport teammates running 1-2. Surely Devin Anderson's not going to force the issue here, knowing that the team car for his family's team, mind you, is running not just in the lead, but in a position to win a championship for the team, for the driver, and for Subaru.
Anderson's been so competitive this year. 4 times a runner-up, 3 other podiums on top of that. Looking for that first victory of the year.
Fartuk now clear of Tyner. We'll have to check his lap times relative to the leaders now that he's in clean air. No traffic to deal with. Now it is Louis Pericarpi on the pit lane, struggling with some problems, it appears. Walsh looking aggressive.
Deep move.
Came from way back. Scroggin saw him coming and gave him a wide berth.
He did, and Walsh did everything he could to avoid contact there. You saw that unweighted inside right front lock up momentarily as he kind of climbed over the curb a little bit at the same time. Colin Garrett hanging tough here, but Rude looks like he's got the pace. Car looks a little bit quicker down the straightaways too.
He may have the pace, but he has no incentive to force the issue. He might do it anyway. From Racine, Wisconsin, Jacob Rude took a peek to the inside, then pops back in line.
I think if Garrett Adams wasn't so close behind, he'd maybe just sit there, but he can't afford to sit around. He knows if suddenly Garrett Adams pounces, it creates that spread. First to second is a 10-point swing. He's only got a 9-point lead to play with.
Good news for Rude. Garrett Adams has no motivation to be too forceful. 2 teammates there from the Fast Track Racing team running second and third. Scroggin, though, is the wild card in the mix. We know the car is fast, had the fastest race lap on Friday. Big moves here.
Strymer inside of Joseph Catania there.
Olivia Askew next to take a shot at Catania.
Bohm's right there as well.
As is Clay Williams. That's for the TC lead.
Saw that crossover between the classes in qualifying where Bohm had more pace than even some of the TCX cars here this weekend. That could be real problematic for him. Maybe open up the door for Clay Williams.
Yeah, you can see the horsepower difference between the 2 classes. TCX so strong down the straightaway relative to the TC cars, but Bohm so strong in the corners. Same for Clay Williams.
Been a fun season between these 2. Kevin Bohm just so consistent, ticks all of the boxes. Great preparation, great engineering mind, great driving, great team. Williams really tucked under here. Let's see what that Mini can do down this straightaway.
This is where it's been strong this season. Bohm will guard the inside. He's already cinched up the championship. Williams looking to the outside, side by side between the 2 title protagonists throughout the season. Bohm holds him at bay.
Really nice racecraft there by Kevin Bohm. Selected the center lane there. Just took his braking a little bit deeper. Williams looks to the inside there. There's definitely an overtaking opportunity as you kind of open up your hands there to get through turn 10. You'd ideally like to swing out wide, but that creates the invitation on the inside there.
We're wondering about the pace of Fartuk now that he's in clean air. He just did his best lap of the race, a 42.2. He's within a second of the top 2 now, with everything to gain by being aggressive.
Got to go for it, but as you said, Wagner has the wingman and his teammate Anderson.
Battle for the TC lead. Mini and Civic up onto the front stretch. Oh, battle here for the lead overall. Rude's going to give it a go. He's to the inside of Colin Garrett, door to door, as they have been so many times this year. Colin Garrett able to hold him off for the moment, but Rude's not done yet. Swings it wide, lets it drift back now to the inside, puts that power down. He should have a run through the chicane.
Jacob's done a really nice job here of avoiding contact, but you know Colin Garrett's going to be super feisty here. He can't afford to let Jacob Rude get by. He's going to put it all on the line. Side by side here between Scroggin and Adams into the brake zone, with Walsh looking for a way through as well.
Oh, 3 into 1. This could get interesting. Somehow they sort it out. Scroggin holds the spot. Now it's Walsh putting the challenge on Adams, but at the front, Colin Garrett, Jacob Rude. Still nothing to separate the 2 BMWs.
Jacob Rude, slightly wider approach. He's going to get the power down early here. Does he look to the inside into the brake zone for turn 12? The next corner on their list. Maybe a little too far back. Thinks about it. Scroggin's doing a great job here. He's now with the leaders once again.
And that car is quick. It has been all weekend long. And he has no skin in this championship game. He just wants to win.
Jacob Rude's car looks fast. I think if he can get the lead, he may be able to scamper away here a little bit, but Colin Garrett is not giving it to him.
Hey, Cal, Devin Anderson passed Gresham Wagner. Fartuk is closing in, so it's now Anderson, Wagner, Fartuk in TCA. Here we go for TCX. Garrett to the inside. Rude trying to take the top spot away, working on the outside.
Colin Garrett takes it in deep. I love it. Tension, championships, race wins on the line. Brett Scroggin looking for his first podium, his first win potentially. But he's got the 2 championship contenders right in his sights.
Managed to score his first career pole for this race, and it comes at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look, he's close again, and he should have a massive tow off the 2 cars in front of him. Garrett again guards the inside. Scroggin peeks outside. Rude comes inside. Colin Garrett takes the middle course, and for the moment, it's good enough. But maybe it opens the door for Rude to swing the outside. No.
Great racecraft there by Colin Garrett. Broke super deep, didn't try to get to the apex, so he didn't lock up any front tires, ran a little bit wide, but maintained enough momentum as we look at the front end of the TCA field. And as you called it, Anderson in front of his teammate. Is Wagner in trouble, or is he just trying to manage this race? He knows if he lets his teammate win, that'll be the big points. He'll still be in great shape should his teammate win. Even if Fartuk gets up to second, that will be not enough to erase the deficit that he came into the day with.
Fartuk's last lap was a 42.8. Anderson also a 42.8, but Wagner a 43.1. Fartuk close again. Look at this snake down the front straightaway.
A lot of movement there. I think the stewards will be looking at that. Rude deep on the brakes. Tries to get to the inside. It's going to be tight. Scroggins is going to get a run on here if he can do the switchback here, but Garrett Adams is right there as well. Got to be careful here.
Fantastic battle. 5 cars all locked together in lockstep at the front. Big move. Garrett Adams trying to get back up to third, but he's fended off, stymied by the stout defense of Scroggin.
What a motor race. Fantastic. Now Walsh is going to get a run on Adams as they come off of turn 6. He's off the track. He is off the road there as Adams protects that inside lane. Walsh deep on the brakes. Now they're side by side through apex.
Garrett Adams was leading this race not so long ago. Now relegated to the 4th spot and fighting just to hang on to that. 11 minutes to go in the season finale for TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School.
And that plays on the psyche a little bit as well in terms of how aggressive you'll be from Garrett Adams' standpoint. He's like, hang on a minute. A moment ago I was battling for the lead. Now I'm trying to stay in the top 4 of this race.
Now Colin Garrett back in front, looking to close out the season with a remarkable streak of wins that have been enough to claw him back into the championship conversation when it looked like Jacob Ruud was going to run away with the thing after Road America. This is reminiscent of what Marcus Ericsson did to win the Indy 500 this year. He called it the Dragon, weaving back and forth to break the toe.
I love it. We haven't seen any notice come on board here.
Oh, Clay Williams with the problem. He was running second. And this is on the front straightaway too, so unless he can limp it down to pit out.
He's got a bit more pace again. I think it's refired here, or got some more life at least.
We've seen that from this car before where he's had to do an electronics reset and it then fires back to life and is right back on the pace again.
Shouldn't be heat related. This battle up front in TCX continues. Look like the two leaders have pulled a bit more of a margin on Brett Scroggin. They're still sitting in third.
Colin Garrett, the short tracker from South Boston, Virginia. Jacob Ruud, the road racer from Racine, Wisconsin. These two have been title rivals since the very start of the season.
Up to second.
Fartuk around Wagner. What does this mean for the points? Well, we'll sort that out in a second. First, can he hang on? Yes, he can into one. The same corner where he ran wide on the restart that put him on the back foot.
Well, it still means that Gresham Wagner has got his one hand on the trophy right now, but if Fartuk can catch his teammate Devin Anderson, get around him, that changes it completely. So Gresham Wagner now under pressure, praying that his teammates got the pace to maintain the lead and get it to the checkered flag first. As they run right now, Gresham Wagner is the champion. That changes if Fartuk gets the lead, however.
Comes down to the final 9 minutes of the season. Looked like Wagner was closing in, also closing in again. Jacob Ruud, he's tried this move before, but there has been no crack in the defense from Colin Garrett.
Best race of the year right now. This is fantastic.
This track and these cars, it's been a match made in heaven since we first turned up here in 2020.
Just really gives these cars plenty of space to maneuver, make the moves they've been making, slicing and dicing. A little bit of elbow room if you need it.
The thing about what Garrett is doing, it's all proactive. It's certainly not in reaction to anything. I'm sure Jacob Ruud doesn't love it. He looks up the inside, and again, not close enough to make a true challenge.
Yeah, there's no one move rule here, so as long as you're not reacting to the car's move from behind, you're okay. You actually create a bit of a behavior, do you know what I mean, for the stewards to then look at later in the race. If it is more of an egregious move, it's like, well, I've been doing it all race long. That could be your defense if you do get raked across the coals on it. Scroggin's doing a great job here. Garrett Adams has got back into
Scroggin.
his...
Did you see that?
That was a big twitch. But Garrett Adams, we talked about him being probably frustrated that he was battling for the lead, then almost dropped down to P5. He's escaped the clutches of Chris Walsh right now and is back into his rhythm. Tell you what's going to happen here at the end, though. I mean, Colin Garrett knows the scenario. If he has the lead on the last lap, look for him to have to back up this pack. He needs to create the compression in that pack to allow Brett Scroggin to have a go at Jacob Ruud. He can't just streak off and try and win this thing. He's got to somehow manipulate the positions behind. Same thing here. I'm thinking about the tech sport situation. Even if Carter Fartuk gets around Anderson, you'd have to believe that Anderson would give up that P2 to his teammate if necessary.
That said, Anderson has had the requisite pace to stay ahead. Ever since Fartuk got around, he's not made much in the way of inroads.
I think Tech Sport hold all the cards right now, despite Carter Fartuk doing an amazing job here to recover from that little moment that he had where he had the off down in turn one on that restart lap.
Leaders coming through the TCA field here. Interrupting a battle for 6th in the TCA class. Oh, this is quite the gaggle of cars.
Yeah, just swing around. Nice job there by Scroggin to get through as well. Garrett Adams follows him through, maybe with a little bit more momentum coming on the front straightaway.
It's Tyler Delgado in the Hyundai, first in the Mini. The leaders work their way through. Once again, Colin Garrett making sure there's no toe for Ruud to latch onto. Maybe backing him up here to Scroggin. Tough spot for Scroggin to be in here. Running a partial schedule, desperately wants a great result. But to get it, it's going to have a massive say in how the championship plays out.
Tell you what, Jacob Ruud is driving a really smart race. So easy to make contact, get too aggressive, and that brake zone there down into turn one, he realized he wasn't close enough to Garrett to make a move. He was then thinking about Scroggin, making sure that he maintained the track position, not to open up the door. If he drops down to third, that is a problem for Jacob Ruud.
Speaking of problems with the issues for Clay Williams, Jeff Rica, who turned 40 on Friday, he is up to the second spot for his team, the Gin Racer squad, and actually running some good laps here, running down Kevin Bone.
4 runner-up finishes so far this year, plus a couple of thirds. There's been a strong year, not the consistency as they continue to develop that race car. And this would also secure third place in the points that he currently holds right now. Kevin Bohm, what a championship season. Looking for 10 wins. 10 wins out of 14, just crazy.
And a podium in every race. 14 for 14. He's only 4.5 minutes away from achieving that remarkable run of consistency.
Be careful, just dodge to the inside.
It's Joseph Catania running 7th at TCX.
They have a slight issue. He doesn't seem to have the straightaway speed, Catania, in the late going here. Meanwhile, back up front, traffic for the leaders to cut their way through.
And he's the delayed Christian Pericarpi moving aside.
Adams
so
has dropped back a little bit.
That he has.
Scroggin could have a say in this championship.
Big time, no doubt about it. Despite Colin Garrett holding the lead, Jacob Ruud, by virtue of running in second, would have enough points to win a second consecutive TCX title. But if he loses this spot to Scroggin, all bets are off.
That changes it.
Oh, and a car off right in front of the leaders as well. That's Colin Harrison in one of the Skip Barber Racing School Team TCA spec cars. Able to save it though. Ugh, that's not what these leaders wanted to see.
No, you got to survive those moments though. Nervous times here. Everything on the line, championship on the line with just 3 minutes to go in this 2022 championship season. Jacob Ruud has now gapped Scroggin a little bit, giving him some breathing room. Colin Garrett, how is he going to manage this? He needs the win, but he needs Scroggin to get around Jacob Ruud. Does he play some games here in the last couple of laps and compress that field and give Scroggin the opportunity to dive down the inside?
That was Ruud's team watching on, team owner, team principal Toby Grahovic watching, could scrap further back with Walsh and Adams fighting over 4th and 5th. Is there a place on this track you can safely try to back Ruud up?
Well, I think through the twisty stuff, maybe through turns 1 through 4, and particularly from 7 through 10, that would be where he'd do it on the last lap potentially, and see what Scroggin wants to do with that opportunity, should he provide it.
Anderson out front, Wagner goes through on Fartuck, so that certainly solidifies Gresham Wagner's hold on the TCA Championship as they run with 2 minutes on the clock in this 2022 season.
This is the sector where he could just back everything up, just really compress the front end of this field and give Brett Scroggin maybe an opportunity to gain those 3 points that he needs him to steal away from Jacob Ruud. Not sure if that's on their mind right now. They're just thinking victory, do all they can, but even if they win, if Jacob's right behind him, he still wouldn't get the championship. No other driver has seen victory lane this year other than these two guys up front.
Last year, Jacob Ruud dominated the inaugural season of this TCX category, had a few drivers pop in from time to time to challenge him, It's been a different story in 2022. Colin Garrett arrived on the scene and has mounted an impressive challenge on the reigning champ. Jacob Ruud, Colin Garrett, they take the white flag on the 2022 season with the championship in the balance. Ruud running second would clinch.
This needs to be the slowest possible lap to win this race for Colin Garrett. He's got to stack these 3 cars up. I'm not sure he's aware of that. He needs to back up. He needs to push Jacob Ruud back into the clutches of Brett Scroggin here. Otherwise, he's going to lose this championship.
In many ways, though, Colin doing everything he could imagine doing, coming out, winning the race, scoring maximum points. It's all that was in his total control. Ruud knew what the challenge was, starting at the back of the TCX field, but he also knew if he could just lock on to Colin Garrett, finish right behind him, the championship would be his for the second straight year. Little bit of lap traffic, that's Brandy and Tyner that they need to work their way through. That should be the last impediment for Colin Garrett, separating him from yet another win, but Ruud from another title. Back into the infield as the clock heads to all zeros. The 2022 season about to come to a close. Colin Garrett coming through for yet another race win, but Jacob Ruud, by finishing second, will earn a second consecutive TCX championship. Colin Garrett wins, Ruud scores the title, the TCX battle comes to the end here at Indianapolis.
Fartuk looks to the inside on Gresham Wagner there.
We'll keep an eye on the TCA fight as it gets closer to the finish. How about the year for the champion-elect? The TC Championship goes to Kevin Boehm, who finishes with a podium result in every race, all 14 of the 2022 campaign. Jeff Rico ran him down, finished a strong second, 1.5 seconds behind. Fartuk took the lunge, but wasn't able to get by Gresham Wagner. And out in front, Devin Anderson in pursuit of a win.
10th win on the year for Kevin Boehm. What a magnificent season. TCA battle going down to the wire as well as they run right now. Gresham Wagner will seal the deal. He will win his championship. Great run by Carter Fartuk. Give it everything. Big bowl move down at the inside into the brake zone for turn 1. Couldn't make it stick. But Tech Sport seem to have control of this championship scenario as we speak.
New sponsor on board this weekend for the Tech Sport team, TCL Televisions. And this has been a perfect weekend for them in so many respects. Gresham Wagner won yesterday. Devin Anderson just a couple corners away from his first win of the season, and Wagner from his first ever TCA title. Coming around turn 14, Gresham Wagner will clinch the 2022 TCA Championship. Devin Anderson heads to the offseason as a race winner for the first time this season in TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School. And the Skip Barber School team driver, Carter Fartuk, gave it all he had, comes up just a little short with a valiant third-place run in the season finale.
The Anderson family celebrate big time. Win for their son there, 1-2 finish, and a championship title for Gresham Wagner. What a day.
What a weekend for Tech Sport. Jacob Ruud,
beautiful drive, as a championship winning drive there. Managed that beautifully. Didn't get too aggressive, didn't risk. Nice clean opening lap from the tail end of the field.
Notches the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, but the top 3, their best laps nearly identical. Those 3 so close all race long. There you see the provisional results. Colin Garrett gets the win. Jacob Ruud and Brett Scroggin all within a second of one another as the checkered flag came out. Garrett Adams did hold on for 4th. Chris Walsh, solid weekend here. He's got big plans in this championship, or at least in the SRO paddock for the future. Kevin Boehm, a 10th win, 14 for 14 in terms of podiums. He is the 2022 champion, holds off Jeff Rico, who notches yet another runner-up result. Then down to the TCA field where Devin Anderson scores his first win to head to the offseason with some momentum. Gresham Wagner clinches the title. Carter Fartuk, another podium, but just short of the championship. He was 3rd in points a year ago, 2nd in 2022.
He gave it a great run here today. He should be proud. I know he's going to be frustrated and disappointed, but it was a great season for Carter. And Gresham Wagner, just a brilliant season. Just so many victories, so much pace. Had a few rounds that didn't go his way. Roller coaster at times, but he deserved that championship.
Tell you what, these touring cars and this tracks, it's something else. Quite a combination. Down to Amanda in victory circle.
Well, Colin Garrett does get the win here in IMS, but you can tell that that championship was on his shoulders. Walk us through that race, and is there a punctuation on this season that you leave here with a high?
Yeah, I mean, these guys from Richard Hall brought a great car again today. As you saw, it was everything I could do to hold off Jacob there. It just wasn't enough there at the end. I need a little help from whoever finished third and stuff to really help us out there. But you know, it was a good season overall, 7 wins. You know, for the adversity we had beginning of the year, you know, we didn't have tires, Fairleigh didn't bring enough tires. So, you know, just stuff like that, little stuff like that, you know, adds up. So to overcome all that throughout the year and, you know, finish second, I guess, is fine. So.
I think of where he came from. Very little road racing experience, short track stock car racing up to the Xfinity Series level in his background, but did a test with this team just for fun down at Sebring. They saw his pace and said, you know, we should give this a try, and he very nearly came away with the championship.
He gave us some great battles here. I mean, to go out of this season with 4 wins on the bounce, and tying 7 wins on the season for as Jacob Rude had, our champion. That was a tremendous performance. He, as he said, he ruled the start of the year, didn't go after a great start, but certainly bounced back nicely.
Back to Amanda with the champion.
And I did just witness a hug between Colin Garrett and Jacob Rude. And Jacob, he held you accountable all season. When you reflect on this year, how did this battle between 1 and 2 make you a better driver?
Well, look, it's at the end of the day, it's a long season. You know, we've definitely had our ups and downs, and you just got to learn to move on. You know, after the last 3 races, I was definitely upset. You know, I knew what we had to do today, and it just, you know, we did exactly what we needed to do, and it's just an amazing team effort. And I want to say thank you to everybody that made this year possible. You know, everyone at Fast Track Racing, my parents, everybody from the Sewell family, Armor Cleanse, Miscreants. You know, they all made this year a possibility, and the team and everybody. It's just been a great year. I'm honestly extremely happy right now, and I'm lost for words. But I just want to say thank you. It's been a great year, and looking forward to next year if we can make it happen.
I think it was a year that wasn't as dominant as last year, but I think it's going to be more enjoyable, more satisfying at the end of the day.
Oh, no question. You can see all the names on the car, all the people that have supported Jacob Rude as he pursues his passion for motorsports. As he alluded to, what he's going to be doing next year is not entirely clear, but hopefully we see him in some capacity in the SRO paddock. Back once again to Amanda.
Well, Kevin, your wife told me just now that it was a goal of yours to make sure you podiumed at every race. Well, you pulled that off, including a sweep here. You're going to reflect on this season, and I know your work ethic that goes into this. What is the ceiling for you, Kevin?
I don't know. I mean, really, I just want to try to replicate this performance in the future. I mean, this has been a year that I'll never forget, and I can't thank the Skip Barber Racing School enough for prepping the car all year. We've been we were only on the podium every race because of reliability first and foremost, and I mean, getting CrowdStrike and AWS on the top step both days today. We got guests here, so I'm really happy to have someone for them to celebrate, and just thanks to everybody that puts this together and gives us a chance to come out here and be successful. So I mean, the future for me is just to try to do this again.
Big smile on his face. What a season. 14 podiums in 14 races. That is hard to do.
He's the benchmark. That's the level that everyone else has to try and attain if they're going to take a championship from this man. And hats off to HPD in terms of developing this car alongside Kevin and giving him the car to work with. But he just doesn't put a foot wrong. He's just mistake-free on a long championship season. That's really quite the statement, and he should really save you this championship year. It's tough to repeat, but that'll be his goal for next year in terms of a similar performance.
Once again, down to Amanda.
And he picks up his first win of the season right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Devin, I know you've been fighting for this moment all season. You wait for one of the most iconic venues in all of the United States. How special is this moment for you?
It's so special. I can't wait to go kiss those bricks over there. Last year we didn't finish either race. To come back and be able to win this one, and this also means that this marks we'll be first in the drivers, third in the drivers, and we'll be first in the team. So, I mean, it's just so special because as a team, we've never won the drivers championship.
Well, congratulations, Devin. I can confirm that Mom has a little bit of tears in her eyes off. One more thing.
Just thank Tech Sport Racing and my amazing crew, Hudson Arse, Brendan Donaldson, and Jim for an amazing season, Redline Oil, and K1 Race Gear. Thank you.
Congratulations. Scars of battle on the race car. But a race car in victory lane is inevitably a beautiful race car. That is the case here for Tech Sport. Amazing that they never won a driver's title until this year.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some really speedy drivers come through their shops for a number of years now, and they've always had performance, but it always seems to have been a roller coaster season.
And let's hear from the season champion now with Amanda.
I have to say, I got over here and Grisham Wagner and his thoughts kind of quiet since winning this championship. You knew the task that was ahead of you today, starting back of the pack. Reflecting on this one, what's in your thoughts?
Well, I mean, first of all, Tech Sport, K1, and Redline have just been great partners all year. Give me a fast car, I think, to win 7 races and be on the podium at a couple more. It's just been all year building up to this, and so I knew I had a car under me this race, knew what I had to do, and I knew Devin would be up there to help at least a little bit with managing the point situation. So once I saw him behind me and knew he had the speed to win, I just kind of had to mirror what Carter was doing, and then I think I had a bit of pace there at the end, so I figured why not make it a 1-2 if I can.
Congratulations, champ.
Thank you.
Impressive young driver, MX5 Cup a year ago, TCA Championship in 2022, and that brings to a close a remarkable 2022 TC America powered by the Skip Barber Racing School season here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks to everyone who tuned in throughout the year. For our entire crew, Amanda in the pits, Calvin with me in the booth, my name's Ryan Marine. So long from IMS.